My name is Charlotte, and I am 32 years old. I want to share a recent life-changing experience that brought me peace after enduring a difficult period with my husband and his family. This journey started a few months ago, and although life is beginning to settle, I am still navigating the emotional aftermath. By telling my story, I hope to find healing. 4 years ago, I took a major step in my life. I married my boyfriend, Benjamin. We met through mutual friends and shared 3 wonderful years together before deciding to get married. Benjamin was charming, always the center of attention at social gatherings. He was kind, generous, and came from a well-off family with a thriving career. His thoughtful gifts, ranging from small gestures to extravagant surprises, made me feel valued. One of his most memorable gifts was a brand new laptop for my college graduation. While I appreciated it, I also felt uneasy about the financial disparity between us. Benjamin, I'm still a student, I told him, trying to bring up the topic. I can't match this kind of spending. Maybe we should at least split some costs. But he would simply smile and dismiss my worries, assuring me that he enjoyed treating me. Eventually, I learned to accept his generosity but still contributed wherever I could. After graduation, I secured a great job and was excited to reciprocate his kindness. We started sharing expenses more equally, and Benjamin even proposed the idea of moving in together. I inherited my grandfather's house, he said. There's no rent, so we can divide other expenses fairly. Although hesitant at first, I agreed, and we embarked on this new chapter together. Then came the moment to meet Benjamin's family. Since he had work commitments, I hosted them alone during their visit. Before they arrived, Benjamin warned me, they can be a bit critical. Just smile and try not to take any negative comments to heart. Hoping for a pleasant first meeting, I prepared for their visit. However, the moment his parents and sister walked through the door, I sensed disapproval. It was immediate and palpable. So, you're the woman Benjamin has been seeing? His mother, Susan, remarked, scanning the house with a judgmental gaze. I didn't expect you to be living here. Do you pay rent? I remained calm and explained, the house is fully paid for by Benjamin, but we split all other expenses equally. Susan was unimpressed. Just because the house is paid for doesn't mean you should take advantage, she snapped. This is Benjamin's house, not yours, don't forget that. Her words stung, and the atmosphere grew increasingly uncomfortable. Benjamin's sister, Kelly, was just as distant. She barely spoke to me and made a point of mentioning her marriage to a billionaire, as if to assert her superiority. My efforts to engage with her were met with cold indifference. During their visit, Benjamin remained silent. He didn't stand up for me or challenge their harsh words. His parents criticized my spending, particularly my purchases of makeup and skincare, labeling them unnecessary. They seemed convinced I was financially dependent on Benjamin, likely because he had initially supported me as a student. What hurt most was that, despite our current financial equality, Benjamin allowed them to believe otherwise. When I later brought up my concerns, he dismissed them. Don't take it personally, Charlotte, he said, they don't mean any harm. You're overreacting. His unwillingness to acknowledge my feelings left me feeling alone and frustrated. 6 months later, Benjamin proposed. Despite my lingering doubts, I said yes, and we started planning our engagement party, agreeing to split the costs evenly. By that time, I had launched a small business, a personal passion project that represented my independence and growth. However, Benjamin showed little interest in it, brushing it off as insignificant. For the engagement party, I covered the airfare for my extended family, eager for them to be part of the celebration. But as soon as the event began, the same old criticisms resurfaced. You shouldn't have spent so much on this party, Charlotte, Susan chastised. You're already draining Benjamin's money before the wedding. At this rate, you'll end up having a backyard ceremony. Her words cast a shadow over what should have been a joyful moment. Feeling the need to defend myself, I spoke up. Yes, the party was extravagant, but Benjamin and I made this decision together. I paid my fair share, and he was just as excited to host so many guests. But the scrutiny didn't stop there. Susan accused me of pushing Benjamin into unnecessary spending, and Kelly insinuated that she knew my type, implying that I was being financially irresponsible. Overwhelmed, I stepped outside for some air, only to overhear Kelly and her husband, Mason, mocking me. It felt like my own celebration was falling apart. Benjamin, oblivious to the hurtful words of his family, did nothing to defend me. Looking back, I realized how isolated I felt on what should have been a happy occasion. His family painted me as financially dependent, despite my efforts to stand on my own. My mother, who had raised me single-handedly and instilled the value of financial independence, noticed my distress. She urged me to reconsider the engagement, pointing out how relentless and cruel Benjamin's family had been. After the party, I confronted Benjamin about his family's behavior. He once again brushed it off, saying, "They were just joking. It doesn't matter, what matters is that I love you." Determined to prove my independence, I offered to contribute more financially, including paying rent, but Benjamin dismissed my concerns yet again. As we moved forward with wedding plans, the stress intensified. His parents scrutinized every choice I made, accusing me of straining Benjamin financially. Even though my mother was covering many wedding expenses, Susan insisted I was exploiting Benjamin, branding me a gold digger. When I approached his father, Arthur, to clarify that we didn't need their financial assistance, he remained indifferent. Kelly's relentless critiques continued, targeting everything from my wedding dress expenses to my makeup choices. The constant judgment highlighted the stark contrast in values between me and Benjamin's family, forcing me to seriously reconsider our future together. The wedding ceremony itself proceeded without issue, but the reception was overshadowed by Susan and Arthur's relentless criticisms. They accused me of mismanaging Benjamin's finances and disregarded my explanations. Their unwavering determination to damage my reputation left me feeling powerless. Choosing peace over conflict, I kept silent, refusing to let their negativity ruin our special day. A few months later, Benjamin was promoted at work. Eager to celebrate his achievement, he planned a grand family dinner. Wanting to make it special, I offered to cover the entire event, explaining that my business was thriving and that I had access to a trust fund left by my grandfather. Carefully planning every detail, I hoped the dinner would reflect my support for Benjamin. When his family arrived, their disapproval was apparent. While other guests appreciated the celebration, Susan took center stage during the speeches, turning the mood from joyous to tense. "Thank you all for joining us to celebrate my son's promotion," she began. "He's worked hard and deserves every bit of his success. Sadly, his good fortune doesn't extend to his choice in partners." Her words hung heavily in the air, silencing the room. "It's unfortunate that he's tied himself to someone many would consider a gold digger." Despite the sting of her words, I kept my composure. Benjamin, however, seemed oblivious to the hostility, further highlighting the growing disconnect between us. Susan continued her attack. "It's obvious to everyone here that his wife's extravagance has been a financial burden," she said, casting a smug glance in my direction. Then, with mock relief, she added, "Thankfully, we had the foresight to ensure Charlotte signed a prenuptial agreement. At least some of his assets are protected." Benjamin didn't defend me. Instead, he nodded. "I can barely spend on myself anymore," he lamented, casting a regretful look my way. "Maybe I made a mistake." Hurt and stunned, I finally spoke. "Do you really believe I'm a gold digger?" I asked, my voice steady despite my pain. Benjamin's response was cold. "Your lifestyle has been a strain on my finances." Taking a deep breath, I decided to address the accusations directly. "Since everyone seems convinced I'm a gold digger, perhaps I should show you my bank balance," I declared. "I'm financially independent and have never needed anyone's money." The room fell silent. Susan's eyes narrowed. "Did you steal my son's money?" she accused. To my shock, Benjamin added, "She must have taken it somehow." Remaining composed, I replied, "I don't need to take anything from your son. I built my own income and recently accessed a trust fund left by my grandfather. I had planned to use it to buy us a bigger house as a surprise, but under these circumstances, that seems unnecessary now." Benjamin's response was tone-deaf. "We could still get the house. It would be a great gift." Resolute, I responded firmly, "That's not happening. Your family has disrespected me for too long, and you've never once defended me. You've allowed their false assumptions to continue." Benjamin brushed off my words, insisting, "You're overreacting." But this time, I had reached my limit. "No, I'm not," I countered. "Everyone here knows exactly what your family has been saying about me." The room fell silent, my words resonating in the air. Surrounded by guests at what was supposed to be a joyous occasion, I realized I could no longer tolerate the lack of support and respect from Benjamin and his family. With newfound clarity, I turned to him and said, "I want a divorce." As Benjamin stammered in protest, my mother stepped forward, calm and resolute. "You've never defended my daughter," she stated firmly. "It's time for her to walk away from this toxic relationship." Without another word, we left, leaving behind a room full of shocked faces. My decision was final. That night, I returned to our shared home, packed my belongings, and ignored Benjamin's desperate calls. Seeking refuge at my mother's house, I muted my phone and reached out to my cousin, a lawyer, the next day to initiate divorce proceedings. With a prenuptial agreement in place, the legal process was expected to be straightforward. However, Benjamin and his family escalated matters by appearing at my mother's doorstep, demanding to speak with me. My mother, unwavering in her support, ordered them to leave. Meanwhile, Benjamin's messages alternated between desperate apologies and unsettling threats, all of which I documented. He even attempted to confront me at my office, but security promptly removed him after I alerted them. This incident only reinforced my decision. Determined to prioritize my peace and dignity, I resigned from my job to focus on my thriving business. A week later, I served Benjamin divorce papers at his workplace. Despite his attempts, sending flowers and gifts to my mother's house, I remained resolute. With my mother's unwavering support, I relocated to a quiet home in a neighboring state, committed to a fresh start. During the 6 months of our separation, I embraced my independence, changed my phone number, and found solace in the tranquility of my new life. News trickled in about Benjamin's downward spiral. He blamed his parents for the divorce and faced professional setbacks as colleagues distanced themselves. His parents only made things worse by spreading baseless rumors about me, but their lies failed to gain traction. In contrast, my life flourished. I expanded my business, regained my confidence, and gradually re-entered the social and dating scene. Although Benjamin's actions left scars, I felt hopeful about finding someone who would truly respect and appreciate me. The challenges I faced had been painful, but they had also forged a strength I never knew I possessed. Moving forward, I embraced a future full of possibilities and personal growth. Confident in my resilience, I now look ahead with clarity on what I want in both life and relationships. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.